Hey everyone, the name is Kris Barocsi. Today, I want to give you a few examples and few ideas of how to spice up your guitar tone. And with guitar tone, I don't only mean the actual tone, I mean the perception of your tone, which is heavily influenced by the way you play. Let's start with the first example, tip. Use less gain. It's as simple. If you're into rock and metal and anything that requires a lot of gain, just try to reduce the gain a little bit, at least a little bit. Most importantly, because you have way more impact on the way your tone is perceived, which means that if you have a little less gain, you can actually make your playing, even though it's still pretty high gain, you can make it sound more relaxed or more aggressive. If you have a lot of gain, all you can do is try to make it sound clean, dampen all the strings you don't want to ring out or let ring out. But that's it. The only thing you can pay attention to at that point is to be accurate, which is of course always very important if you're playing rock or whatever. But if you reduce the gain, it will just sound more tight if you palm mute, and you have more, it just sounds more aggressive if you want that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'll have both sides of a dual-sided overdrive on and a clean boost in front of it to kick that drive pedal into even more gain. That's gonna be the first tone, and then I just turn off that clean boost to clean up the signal a little bit, and you'll see how much less gain all of a sudden I have and how much tighter palm mute sounds and how much more, you can hear the pick and everything. So it's more exciting, really. The next one is really cool. I use this a lot. It's implementing finger picking in your playing style. You can still stick to your pick and just use the fingers. This would be called a hybrid picking, using the middle of the ring and maybe even the pinky for the treble strings. Or you can just hide that pick somewhere in your hand or just put the pick away and just use only fingers. It's incredible how different a finger plucked note sounds compared to a pick, and you just have so much more control over the dynamics, even if you're using an overdrive or like a cranked amp. There's a learning curve to it, so the first couple of weeks or months can be feels like, what am I doing here? Especially if you're totally used to using a pick, but it's so worth it, and it just opens up a whole new universe. Third tip, use a subtle modulation effect on your normal rhythm tone, especially if you're talking about blues rock, rock, or metal. A very subtle phaser, flanger, chorus, something like that can really spice up your tone and make it sound more interesting and maybe even more stressful, which is cool if you're into that vibe, if the song can appreciate that vibe. It just sounds less flat and there's some excitement in your tone. I actually did that in the intro playing. There's this intro song in the beginning of this video where I had the UA Effects Astra after my drive pedal, and I set that pedal up for a very subtle flanger. I have the regeneration pretty much off, which means that you don't have this that obvious flanging thing. It's a very subtle one, but you can clearly hear that there's something going on. Something is happening with that. It's like phasey or flangy or something is, what is that? Number 4 are subtleties in your playing. I would focus on 2 things, which if I look at my playing, I see it a lot. And if I look at all of those people who inspire me, even more so. So the first is micro bends. These are not actual like half note or full note bends. These are just little sort of bluesy, jazzy little things that like push the melody you're playing a little bit outside, if you know what I mean. This is just something that you would use on like the third a lot. If it's a minor or major third, that works really well. This is what I mean. Again, without. And with those micro bends. It's really subtle if you don't overdo it, but it's so effective. And the second subtlety I wanted to talk about is something that I call violin vibrato. I'm not sure if it's the actual term. I think so, but I'm not 100% sure. Doesn't really matter. What it is a subtle vibrato where you don't pull the string sideways to do this. You just stay on that string. You don't move the tip of your finger, but you just wobble around like parallel to the string. So it's really subtle, but it's beautiful, especially if you don't want to go for like a really wild, heavy rock kind of vibrato. Look at how much more subtle it is. It's pretty much like comparing a Bixby vibrato or tremolo or whatever you want to call it to like a Floyd Rose. And this is like a traditional vibrato. Tip number 5 is to pay attention to where you pick the string. Many of us know this already. Of course, if you pick closer to the neck, you'll have a much softer, bassier, warmer tone. If you pick really close to the bridge, it becomes nasal, really thin, and sort of metallic, and it's just really funny.
Metallic bonding is a type of chemical bonding that arises from the electrostatic attractive force between conduction electrons and
shut up, please.
Charged.
You can obviously go for the extremes and do this. Even if you just go closer to the bridge pickup or to the neck pickup, you'll have slightly different warmth and different harmonics in case you do a pinch harmonic. So you can play around differently and get different tones out of your guitar, and it's just a lot of fun. In case you enjoyed my video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, give this one a like, ring the notification bell, all of those things. And of course, check out the description box in case you want to know more about my signal chain, the stuff I was using. You'll find gear links there, timestamps, and also a link to my merchandise if you want to support what I'm doing here. All right, meet you down there in the comment section. Hit me up with your questions or whatever your observations, and see you next week in a new video. I'll be back. Bye-bye.